am Pule Molebatsi. This is Stories Untold. Thank you for being here with us today. We are yet to venture into another 30 minutes journey of individuals who do great and amazing things. Today we bring you yet another inspiring story of someone who believes that just taking time and investing in a passion that is dedicated to uplifting their community will bring about the change that she wants to see. This is someone who just recently left a corporate job to work with NGOs to uplift the youth. Now you're sitting there thinking, why would someone do such a thing? Well, we're about to find out because Claire is about to unpack why she is on this mission. But what's important about today's episode is that we are also going to spend time with some of the community members that Claire is very, very passionate about assisting in her own way. Let's start the journey.
Bullet-riddled bodies on the streets.
Standing here makes me very sad.
All the community here outside, big people is crying for their children. It's so sore. It's very, very, very sore.
Normally we used to say that charity begins at home. I strongly believe in that. Take it back. Take it back to charity begins at home, and you scold your son or you sort them out regarding the situation. There's nobody else that can do it for us.
We fear mostly for the lives of our children. Our kids are growing up here, and the gang-related violence that's been going on for so long.
It cannot continue like this, not a day after today. It must stop, and the government, if it needs to deploy the entire SANDF, our biggest crisis of Firetown police station is closed due to the COVID. So we need additional deployments, 24 hours.
I was at home, and another community leader called me to say that in their street somebody was shot. And I asked him, is the police there? He said yes, the police arrived because another person had called him before. And just after I dropped the phone with him, we just heard shooting. So I ran to our lounge window, and I checked through the window to see exactly what was transpiring. And the only thing that we saw, we thought that people were busy picking up bullets from the event here, but only to find out that people ran from the flats to come and see that two people had been lying here and they were shot and killed.
My child, please!
A sharp increase in fatal shootings in Eldorado Park, Westbury, and surrounding areas keeps residents and community members living in fear. Evidence indicates that organized criminal groups mostly perpetrate mass shootings in these areas, with motives often linked to competition over territory resources and mostly due to unemployment and poverty.
What this particular neighborhood is known for, it is notorious for gangsterism. You talk about the Varadors and the fast guns. The Varadors leader was shot recently, and there's always been conflict. I actually understand it's been going back to the 50s when Sapphire Town started. So it's endemic to the area.
It was through the tragic killing of her nephew that saw Claire Klassen leaving her full-time job to start an organization that will bring about change into the community of Westbury to try to curb the scourge of the shootings.
It was on the 25th of October when my 19-year-old nephew was shot roundabout at the area just behind us diagonally. And, that spurred me because since I was 16 years old, I've always had this vision to go back to my community. I grew up in Eldorado Park. So back then it was 1991. We didn't really know what to do with that information. 28 years later, I started working in CSI. And that's where I gained the foundational knowledge about, yes, you can definitely start your own non-profit company, which I then did after my nephew's death in November. On the 20th of November, I registered my non-profit company called New Pathways. It deals with community education and training. And what I'm doing here actually is to give the youth a pathway. That is why I named it New Pathways. What I want to do with my organization is I want to work with focused individuals that want to change their life, no matter what history they have, where they come from. You know, it's just the future that I'm concerned about, a future to give you a way out of this area and areas like it.
Community leader Pastor David van Ryan, who is a reformed ex-offender, believes in Claire's vision to bring about change in this community. They recognize that crime and gangsterism has been a problem in this area for some time now.
I have an organization called You Matter Foundation. And so what You Matter Foundation does is we work with guys that's been incarcerated, because obviously I'm from prison. I was also incarcerated due to violence, and also we're working with the community in the schools, trying to raise not only an awareness, but also to have a generation that is raised with a different mindset, a different outlook on life, that violence, gangsterism is not your only way out. There are other opportunities, there are other options, and good can come out of it. And it's just for us to challenge that narrative. And so, as you said, with Claire, I'm actually very excited for going forward, working with Claire and her foundation, so that together we can collaborate and see how we can work together collectively and with other entities, and see how we can bring about good quality change in the society, as far as education is concerned, sports, etc., just to bring about change. Because as you can see, when you look around, there's a whole lot of youngsters that's idle, just hanging around, doing nothing. So that is a devil's playground, when people are idle like that. So, but when we have certain programs set in place, just to get people not only to be busy, but to be productive, that will help bring about change in our society.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. I can't hear. We wish you a Merry Christmas. I can't hear. We wish you a Merry Christmas. I can't hear. Happy New Year.
Currently, Westbury is experiencing a downward spiral of unemployment, poverty, drug abuse, and crime. Through Claire's foundation, she manages to pool resources and communities to work together and come up with means to feed those who are in need.
My marble. Yeah. I'm helping in the community since the people in our community are struggling. Children are hungry on a daily basis. So whenever I can, like I was telling Claire earlier on, that I'm not working and I'm selling stuff like baskets. I'm having a small shop at home selling kotas, and sometimes people will ask me to do catering. Sometimes it's volunteer when it's a funeral, and then when people do have money, they do give me something. And then with that something, like I said, I'm not working. I must also see, I've got 4 children, but 2 of them are married, and 2 is still under my support. Then I must see that we have something to eat at home. I must feed, clothe, clean, and whatever. I must buy groceries. We must live on that money. But when I do have extra, like maybe I'm used to not saving money. So if I have extra, I buy some things and then I cook and feed in our community. Sometimes 50, sometimes 100, but the demand is, the hunger is high in our community.
My old school is Willow Crescent in Eldorado Park. The Trevor Noah Foundation has done a lot of work, and also some other organizations. So I always have this thing about myself. No matter where I am, I must remain grounded, and I must remember where I come from.
Welcome back. This is Stories Untold. Now, just like every person would feel or experience some sort of anxiety when Claire Klassen left her corporate job and ventured into working with NGOs in terms of collaboration and exposing them to opportunities such as funding. But her main passion is to empower young people by collaborating with different non-profit organizations.
Educational programs also suffer from the effects of gangsterism and crime. In some areas, it is fast becoming fertile breeding grounds for gang recruitment activities. The Willow Crescent Secondary School hopes to team up with Claire Klassen to improve the learners' academic results, as they recognize that most pupils struggle to continue with their studies after matric.
I've met with Claire recently, and just in her conversation, she indicated to me that she has recently lost a nephew of hers. And in the area where it happened, she realized, the unemployment and how, the people's day-to-day life. It is so difficult, and it's so difficult for youngsters to survive with just being employed. And then I've shared with Claire that the one thing that I still want to do here at Willow Crescent is to have a skills development center. So from that conversation of ours, she just shared with me that that is exactly what she has in mind. So Willow Crescent's got quite a lot of land. And we are Kulani School, so they are going to assist us in building a multifunction center. So I've indicated to Claire we can use that as a starting point, because it is not going to help anyone where children are passing matric, and after matric, then what happens? Then also I shared with her that I do have a number of learners who are not academically strong. So they will pass matric, but with matric certificate that you cannot do much. So it's important, for me also to try and see before I retire to make sure that we can give back. And I just realized on that particular day, that me and Claire are definitely on the same page. So we're going to liaise with people in the community, because it is the Eldorado Park and surrounding community that we want to serve.
They employ community members at the school to help with security. They offer music lessons, which I don't hear a lot about at schools anymore. So the principal, who I would rather have her tell you all of this, but the principal, Mrs. Hill, has been amazing, bringing all of these organizations together, helping with literacy and reading. They have what you call a ICT center, where they have laptops, 40 laptops in the lab. So they have about 1,600 students. So they service the community around them with education and enabling them to be the best students in order to apply for bursaries or to study further. I went to the school today, and the principal shared with me the type of organizations that play a role there. So they're doing a lot of good work for the community pulling.
The school prides itself with a state-of-the-art facility to give their pupils more skills. They also have musical programs to keep the young people off the streets. Claire's groundwork is inspired by her personal experiences. She has a cousin that resides at Jordan House, which is a place for the elderly. She gets to spend time with the elderly, and this time around, she invited the Stories Untold team to share this joyous moment with her.
Jordan House is where my cousin, one of my older cousins, is living. He is in his late 50s, and he had a stroke. So that specific center looks after the old age in the neighborhood. For me, it's always been a need in society. We always neglect our old or aged people, when their family forget about them and don't go and visit. So that was the role that I was fulfilling as I was growing up. I used to go and visit them. And even now, if I go to Jordan House, and I go and take some little bit of groceries now and then to my cousin, he shares some stories about how they were about to close and they were taken over by new management, okay? So for me, going there, just seeing him, his eyes light up when I come visit him always, and his neighbors in the area, you know, the old men who live next to him, always look at me with interest, like, who's this person? You know, I really wish that younger people could come like I did when I was younger to instill that sense of community. And when you speak to an older person, they always have wisdom to share. The director of Jordan House told me that they have nurses on standby in a medical emergency. They also work with Rahima Musa Hospital, the doctors there. So they also give them medical attention as required. But definitely from an emotional, psychological perspective, there is a need for people to go out there, maybe from an outreach perspective, and visit the aged, not only at Jordan House, but most old age homes, or rather care for the aged in our society.
Leaving a full-time paying job to start a non-profit organization can be a life-changing decision. For Claire, it was a difficult one as she had a family to think of.
Major change I made in my life was that I resigned from a very good job at an excellent company that was rated top employer for over 3 years, you know. And it was a decision I didn't take lightly. The reason I took that decision was because I knew that we have got very good-hearted people in corporate, very good-hearted people out there, individuals that can come together and raise funding for specific programs, but you are restricted by the type of programs that you run. So, for example, my programs were centered around financial education only. There was no skills upliftment or skills development or life skills encompassed in that program. Now, I couldn't really do something else while I was in that specific role. So I took it upon myself to resign, register a non-profit company. It's called New Pathways. And it deals with community education and training. What I'm going to do is collaborate with organizations or individuals and develop programs that center around skills development.
It's always been Claire's passion to work with people and be out there. So we decided that while they are still young, I would be at home with them. I think it's something that I would like to do, I wanted to do, to teach them. And then it's become more difficult financially. So I've also opened a business and it's starting in January. So I'll be a working from home mom. So we'll both be working. And I think it's both of us doing things that we are passionate about.
Welcome back. Now, this one is a personal favorite of mine. Over the years, I personally look forward to moments like this, where we get to sit down with people that we usually interview and feature on the show, just to get to know them and spend a little bit of cheer. Of course, Christmas is around the corner, hence the Christmas hat in my hand right now. Right now, also, we are at Jordan House here in Westbury, Johannesburg. And inside this hall is a group of elderly people that Claire is visiting, but she thought, let me bring the Stories Untold team. I look forward to bonding and getting to know each and every person inside. Let's go.
There's two things that are very close to my heart. That is the youth, the young people, and also our aged. Because our aged have got golden treasure inside their heart.
Claire has always been someone who is of service. I think her love language is acts of service. She loves helping people and she loves being with people. And I think that's when she's in her element. And I'm the total opposite. So I think in that regard, we make a very good pair.
We are planning to have a whole lot of other outreaches during this season to see that how we can curb the violence, and so that people can also know that the church is relevant and visible, not only in our buildings but also on the streets. So I hope and I pray and I speak not only for myself but on behalf of the church, the entire ecclesia, that things will change. We will have a different Christmas in spite of the negatives that's there. There need to be some good positives coming out of it, and there needs to be a different mindset that people can change.
I really wish that the thing that Claire is trying to do in our community will work, and I would also pray that there will come more people out to help Claire, because she's here for good intention.
I wish Claire everything of the best. I said to her, should I retire tomorrow or the day after, I will definitely support her, because Claire is a person of her word. She's committed, she's driven, she doesn't make empty promises. That I've learned from my previous experience with her. And I think just for the type of person that she is, I think Claire will definitely, reach those goals and dreams that she has set for herself.
For you to flourish, and there's a time for you to struggle. But at this point in time, I would like to help our communities flourish. If you will help me do that, I will appreciate it. Are you going to help me? Yes?
And just like that, we have come to the end of our festive season edition. We'd like to continue encouraging you to be the change that you would like to see. But most importantly, for this particular season, spread the cheer, just like we are doing here at Jordan House today with my guest, Claire, as well as my colleague, Zara. Now, we are going to do a very special closing today, just because we can. All right, ladies and gents, I'm going to count you down. When I get to number 5, we are going to say Merry Christmas. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, they are ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas!